You're building or you're destroying. You have discipline or you have regret. Now, I believe there's 4 basic pillars that make up what a man is supposed to be, that holds up the kingdom of your manhood. That's your physicality, number 1. You have to be healthy. And when you look at the things that you do to address your physicality, you either live with discipline, eating the correct foods, training correctly, and respecting yourself, or you will inevitably suffer from the regret of having a diagnosis that could have been prevented by any of those steps before. And so many times people, especially in my line of work, they come and they try to tell me all the reasons why what we're trying to do isn't gonna work, or why it's not gonna work for them. They have all these beautiful lies that they've written on paper and say, did this and I did this and I did this. But if you really got to see the truth of what they were doing, they didn't do the things that they needed to do. They did the things that they were willing to do. And that doesn't require discipline. Discipline isn't doing the things that you want to do physically, because I don't want to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning every day so I can go train at 5. I don't want to do that. I don't get stoked about that every day. And the men that train with me, they're not excited about it. As a matter of fact, when we get there, the first 5 minutes of our warm-up is explaining to one another about how bad we didn't want to be here today. And man, I almost hit that snooze button. But we're there. We go. Why? Because the result of not going is going to make us feel the way we don't want to feel, look a way we don't want to look, and be someone we don't want to be. And so when you look at your physicality, you're going to either take care of yourself with discipline, or you will regret not doing that. Guaranteed. It might be because you're fat and everybody's pointing at you, or it might be because you're dying and you could have done something about it. The second one, and it could have been number 1, but without life, without your physicality, without all of those things, then your spirituality wouldn't really matter a whole lot. But the spirituality, I believe, is a very pivotal thing for men to approach with discipline. Because the things that we're supposed to do, the moral code that we're supposed to follow in taking care of our spirituality, no matter whatever religion that you choose, to me, it doesn't really matter, as long as it's one of peace. There's disciplines that you have to adhere to. The 10 Commandments. The 10 Commandments would solve all of our problems if the whole world just followed those 10 simple rules, those 10 simple precepts of how humans are supposed to roll. It takes discipline. It takes discipline to not break those commandments, especially in the culture that we live in today, that tells you that whatever lust, desire, or wants you have, go for it. You deserve it. So it takes discipline. But just like with your physicality, if you're not disciplined in your faith, then you will face attacks that are either meant to guide you back to where you're supposed to be or to destroy you. It just depends on if God still has your back. But we're foolish to think that we can beat the realm of spirituality, that we can avoid being tested. He allowed the devil to test Job, a dude that for all intents and purposes was without fault. And so if he'll let Job be tested, if Jesus can be tested, what makes us think that we're not going to be tested? We're nowhere near the men that those men were. So with your spirituality, you've got to be disciplined. When you see that hot girl, the Bible says, if your eyes sin, you sin. You think about doing something, you've done it. It takes discipline. It takes discipline to be a man to avert your eyes from that beautiful thing. But just like discipline keeps you on the right path, a lack of discipline will lead you to hell. The third one is your professional world. Like old Bob in the story, he took everything for granted. Everything was whatever he wanted it to be. He was full of shit. Now, I have to be honest, when I had a regular job, I was just like that dude. If I didn't feel like going to work, I didn't go to work. I'd call in and do something. Never got fired like that. But I know so many people who live that way, and then they complain and bitch that they don't have what they want, what they think they deserve. Or they go to work and they just half-ass it. They do what needs to be done, what they have to do. They're quick to say, that's not my job. But even the job that they have, they just do the bare minimum. They don't approach it with tenacity. There's no discipline in doing the very best job. Even if they're a trash collector, you should do the best job you can. But to do that takes discipline. You have to take pride in what you're doing. And you have to be disciplined to always show up. But if you don't approach it like that, you'll end up losing. You'll end up losing your job, your business, whatever it is that you're not disciplined, that you're not following the path, the guidelines that you should have set for yourself. And the fourth one, and it's probably one of the biggest ones in the hearts of men who come to these conventions, who find themselves in the manosphere, especially if you deal with any of the red pill shit.